time to even surrender? Would you give up your rights and let your life slide away? There's a race, so you win,
full-on CIS affair in the upper bracket, but yeah, still a very spicy group ahead on Group A.
Obviously, we will have some loser matchups as well taking shape, as this is a double elimination bracket, and I believe we'll probably have some of those games on the B stream. However, that being said, guys, it's been short and sweet, but we're just about ready to jump into our third match of today's proceedings. So we're going to head to a break, and when we come back, we'll be breaking down the start of next one. Stay tuned.
I crave the taste. It's still not true. It gets me high, high, high. Got no time to waste. Ain't got time for small talk. I tell you the truth. I'm faster than you.
Wolno.
Our third match complexity and vitality. Two teams that have had a bit of recent best, and I think one of these teams definitely steps out as being, well, maybe not in recent memory, just the balance and the crashes and the goals we've had. But vitality are definitely the team the longest time we're up there in the top 5 teams, maybe the top 3 for the best players in the camp from that side route. But they've had a couple of changes.
Yeah, just on this Complexity have had this 5 since October of last year now. JKS has been on board for quite some time. You know, they've had Poison, you know, back into the fold for a little bit now as well after he had a bit of extended period off. But the results have been just a mixed bag. Like, they ended 2020 pretty strong with a top 4 at Beijing and a top 8 at DreamHack Masters Winter. It seemed like they were on their way up, but they didn't qualify for Katowice. They were able to qualify for this event, however, and they were able to do pretty well in EPL, right? Getting a top 6 finish just, you know, weeks ago in season 13 of that league. So they've had some positives. They've also had some negatives. I think in particular, some of their players have just not really gotten going, have they, Vince? I mean, it really feels like it's been like the Blame F and Config show over there. Poison just doesn't seem like the same player anymore. It's really odd that he's just struggled to have a recovery despite how potent he was in the past with the AWP. Hope to see him be able to get back on track because he was such an explosive player to watch. Meanwhile, like you said, Vitality also in their own
Folytassuk
fit
át
of
a
things.
DreamHack
They have
Master
been
Spring
grim this year, Vince.
2021-et a
There
B
really
csoporttal,
is,
ezúttal a
how do they
Complexity
put it,
és a
like, they
Vitality
had
összecsapásával
a good into
folytatjuk a
2020,
mai
couple of
napot.
big wins,
Hát,
couple
mit
of
nem mondjak,
titles, even
Lojál, a
like an
Vitality
IM Beijing
mostanság
and Blast
némileg
Premier, but
gyengélkedik, mint
they
éppen
have just
mint a hajam
crumbled
jelenleg.
in
Hogy
2021.
emlékszem,
We're
egy
talking like group stage
kicsi
exits, last
hiba
place in a
történt
couple
itt
of
a
events,
gépezetben,
including
de mit gondolunk inkább a
Blast Premier and
Vitality-ről?
even EPL. They were like
Igen, most
13th, 16th
érkezett
place.
egy
It's
új
been just so dire.
újonc francia,
They have no
Kyojin
Mackle to speak of.
nevezetű
And now they have
úriember,
a brand new player, basically,
aki
on the team who's
22
only had
éves
5
egyébként,
events
annyit
under
kell
his
róla
belt
tudni, hogyha
total.
esetleg valaki
And Kyojin,
nem
so,
tudná, ő volt
I
egyébként
don't know, man. They seem to be in a really bad spot.
a Vartrox,
Yeah, I mean, if you look at
valami
the
ilyesmi klánban
previous
volt, most
games,
bocsánat, én sem
Complexity are
vagyok
on a hot
teljesen
streak. They've
biztos
won 4
benne, hogy
games in a
pontosan
row.
hol játszott,
Beaten
egy
Mouseport,
algériai
Sprout, and
csapatban
then
volt az
teams that you
úriember. Na
probably
mindegy,
don't know
és
as
volt
much
neki,
about. And you look
voltak
at
róla
Vitality,
Vartrox,
elég,
igen,
what's the
volt
last
ilyen.
3? 9Z
voltak róla elég,
without
hogy
Device
vannak
in it,
róla
of course,
pletykák.
and
A lényeg az,
so
hogy
you look at the
valamit
two teams,
látnak
and obviously
benne itt
Complexity are in
a
the standard
franciák,
form,
illetve
plus
hát
the
a
fact that they only played
Vitality,
each other
és
a couple months ago, and
és
Complexity
bepróbálták.
destroyed Vitality.
Hát az utóbbi
Ugye,
időben sok
ugye
mindennek
RPK,
próbálkozik.
bocsánat, csak annyi, ugye
Igen.
elég rossz felől közé tettem meg a dolgokat, hogy egy RPK távozott, tehát ő így itt hagyta a csapatot, mindenféleképpen kellett nekik egy új ember, és szerintem prioritás volt az, hogy egy francia játékos legyen, itt a nyelvezet meg mindenféle dolog miatt is, és így született meg ez a döntés.
And
Igen,
yeah, hard to
érdekes.
know what to expect, though you have to think Complexity is the front runner. You know, their roster is more stable. They've looked a little bit better as far as like recent form. So yeah, Vitality have a lot to prove. I mean, we know that they have Ziwu, the guy's a monster, but outside of that, you start drawing question marks.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting situation because if you went back in time, you'd think this game on paper would be an easy cast iron victory for Vitality. Well, that's just no longer the case. I agree. I think Complexity now are the favorites.
It's one of those things where, like, who's the second star for Vitality? I think that's the question we've been asking for quite some time because Ziwu needs that help, right? And Shox can sometimes be that guy, right? And their coaching has always been very good, right? I mean, that's like another thing I feel like, you know, I think it's like Ecstasy, I think is how you pronounce his name, you know, has done some good work as well. And, you know, it's just now about slotting in a whole new player. Right? They've already had to rotate between, like, Masuda and Navera and figure things out. But, yes. There's a scramble going on, folks, but everything's good. We're just looking to get into the veto here pretty soon, I'm sure. So we'll start to kind of figure out maybe what map we're going to play. Again, hard to read either of these teams' map pools, right? We know that complexity often favors Inferno and Mirage. That's the maps that they seem to be really strong on. They like to avoid Train and Vertigo, so I imagine that that's a couple of the bans that Cole's going to be looking to do. When it comes to Vitality, no idea. Brand new lineup. They don't really play much Inferno. They don't really play much Train. So I imagine that those are two maps they probably don't want to play. But other than that, it's really up in the air. It looks like Nuke will be the deciding factor. And, you know, I'm a little surprised, but not too much. I feel like this is kind of that middle ground map that you normally see in a best-of-1 situation.
So I think like ultimately this was maybe expected, like more of a middle ground as you were just touching on there. I think it would have been between maybe Nuke or Dust2 with the maps that I had in the back of my mind as potential playgrounds. So on Nuke, this is a map where Kyojin, I'm really curious to see how he fits into the roles in Vitality because there isn't a great deal known about this guy. So
talán kicsit ellépni a többitől. És arra gondoltam, hogy mi lenne, hogyha a Vitality most összeszedné magát egy BO1-re. Ugyebár most érkezőknek elmondanám, hogy ez egy BO1-es összecsapás, nincsen három pálya, aki megnyeri ezt a meccset, egyből a felső ágon folytatja, az alsó ágon az ellenfél. Az alsó ágon is már BO3 lesz, illetve a felső ági elődöntőben is már BO3 lesz a csapatoknak. Annyi kis érdekesség, ugye újoncról beszélünk. Kyojin személyében, hogy az első mérkőzésük lesz egyébként vele a Vitality-nek, tehát a Vitality konkrétan a 9Z mérkőzés óta nem játszott profi mérkőzést. Igen, ez egészen pontosan.
Igen, és ráadásul ugye az a ciki, hogy ez a 9Z mérkőzés azért nem fog bekerülni
Hát a best of eredmények közé, igen, 43. a világranglistán ez a csapat, és legyünk őszinték, voltak olyan nevek ott abban a csapatban, akikről nem igazán hallottunk még, de nagyon jól játszottak, de ez már a múlt. Tehát igen, az első mérkőzése 2 hét után a Vitality-nek ugye ezzel az 5-össel, míg azért a Complexity játszogatott itt Flashpoint, Qualik, stb. Egészen pontosan tegnap 2 darab mérkőzést és 2 BO3-at is játszottak tegnap.
Egyébként hozzáteszem, hogy hozzátenném őket, hogy a 9Z-ben ott volt Try, 16 éves AWP-s játékos, aki az egyik legnagyobb prodigy lesz egyébként szerintem majd a Cségónak, és Landersnek figyeltem a csatornáját, és ő is kifejezetten kiemelte Tryt, és elemezte az ő játékát a Vitality ellen, szóval fogunk még erről a fiatal argentinról hallani, de kicsit ugorjunk vissza erre a mérkőzésre. Hát így, hogy Nuke a pálya, azt gondolom, hogy a Vitality-nek még nagyobb esélye lehet, mint sem, hogyha mondjuk Mirage, Overpass vagy éppen Vertigóra mentünk volna, úgyhogy még ez talán jól is sült el a Vitality számára.
Egyet kell értsek egyébként. Tényleg a Nuke ez lehet talán tényleg az egyik olyan pálya, amin ez a friss csapat meglepetést. Azt kell mondani, hogy meglepetést kell okozhatnak, hiszen hiába egy erős csapat a Vitality, meg vannak ott a ranglistán, ahol azért most valószínűleg viselték is úgy gondolom, hogy jóval, de esélytelenek csapat lesz ezen a mérkőzésen. Na de lássuk, mi ketten pozitívan álltunk hozzá, ketten megraktuk itt a kis workshopban a Vitality. Nézzük az első kört.
Nézzük, mivel operál. Complexity, aki ugye T-oldalt lesz, a Vitality pedig védekezhet, és rögtön Kyojin szemszögéből nézhetjük ezt a fenti védelmet, hogy berobban a nyugor Apexnek, meg is van rögtön az entry, szalad be a fenti támadás, Misuta egyenlőre egy kicsit misszelget, azonban előbbi a bombás, meg lesz még egy pedig bizony ott van egy fej Misutának, érkezik Blame-et, lelövi Misutát, de még mindig nem tudták lerakni, ember előnyben van a Vitality, jaj, de nagyon kapja a Blame-et, mindössze 6 HP-val, GKS sokszor, és még egy frag ott van a Complexity-nek, egyedül marad Apex 1v2-be, full HP-n azonban, és egy játékosról van infója, második, viszont nem lesz, be kéne nézni, megvan a nullos, a bombaplankton így már lebukott JKS, Apex pedig rohan előre, leraszt a JKS, Apex tudja előni, nem JKS-e a frag végül, T-oldalt a Complexity-nek, meg is már az első frag, de nagyon nehéz szülés volt, és ha bár sokat ekésztem Misutát az utóbbi időben, ez bizony nem rajta.
Éppen helytáll tényleg valóban a fiatal francia. Hát úgy látom, hogy ez a nap, ez a pisztolyköröket tekintve nagyon nagy izgalmakat hoz. Nem láttunk egyszerű pisztolykört még szerintem itt a 3 mérkőzés alatt, és ez is egy nagyon jól produkált, kivitelezett kör volt. És forszolni fog a Vitality. Kell, hogy emeljen, hiszen az előző mérkőzésen a VP nem forszolt. Francia ez nagyobb meta. Na lássuk, hogy ezt a scoutos, pisztolyos és egy MP9-es vásárlást hogy fogja abszolválni a Vitality. Jóval erősebb a Complexity-nek a fegyverarzenálja még így is, és már levolpoltak Secretbe a bombával. Békés lesz az, aki Trumpáról fog majd lörkölni hátba, illetve információt szerez.
Put them in a good position in the pistol, even though they lost it, Vitality. MP9 for Kaijin.
Most kasszolnak át, most már tudják, hogy az Atlantic Shocks szép fejjel indít. Emberelőny az eddig a pillanatig tartott, azt vissza tudja lőni, most a JKS majd rámpáról és körbe zárni, és utána lelövi, elhozzák a fegyvert, emberelőny ezzel, és még egy AK-t is el tudtak hozni, és a kezébe pedig még jó is lehet 100 HP-s a játékos, és még kevója is van, azonban a Complexity-nek ez a pozíció alapvetően kedvez. Na nézzük, bombaplan mögött ott van Config, és BlameF-re nem hiszem, hogy számítani fognak. Azonnal feljel, hogyha valaki ott belenéz a célkeresztjébe, Kyojin szépen tolja előre, Misuta is társul hozzá, BlameF ki fogja nézni Confignak egy frag, Poison jön ki, kinéz, és Poison duplázik. 2-0 a Complexity-nek, és jöhet egy full a Vitality részéről.
A biztos kezdés. Igen, valóban. 3100 miss utánál neki tényleg nem kéne semmit fenni, hogy tudjon AVP-t dobni, Bazaivonak is 3200 van, úgyhogy így aláskozás értem felfedezni Zaivonak a kamerájából, de nem, egy Desert sokszor belefért, Apex-től egy kis T250 és ennyi, úgyhogy nagyon meghúzták a gatyamadzagot. Egy villámgyors.
Igen.
Ez egy ilyen hamis Astralis.
Nagyon fék, igen, csak nem overpass, hanem ugye a pályanyúk. And the name is Jeff. Amiből sejt bármit is a Vitality?
Vagy lát bármit is a Vitality?
Igen.
Tehát ott oké, hogy...
Erre nem vagyok, nézzek, lemennek és senki nem várja amúgy őket exitbe. Annyira simán lemeriz a bombaplant, tehát nem túl hatékony, de annál látványosabb setup.
Mondjuk én azt a fantáziát láttam felfedezni, hogy ott le lett volna súgva, hogy esetleg, hogyha ott átlát füst fölött Kyojin, megvan az info, hogy ötten átcrosszoltak, és akkor Shox megindul hátba, vagy átfolkol füstön, vagy valami ilyesmi, de látványos volt, de eredményezett. Hát freget sem, és egyenlőre kört sem, és nagyon... Hát kimerem jelenteni, hogy nem lesz.
Hát meghiúsult, de egyébként ez a Complexity-nek is köszönhetően, mert nagyon szép füstfüggönyt húztak amúgy, és nem volt egyik füste lukas. Úgyhogy alapvetően ez a setup szerintem működött volna, de a Complexity egyszerűen jobban megoldotta ezt a szituációt.
Az milyen vicces lesz, hogyha itt azért érkezni fognak rámpára, BlameF biztosan. Senki se.
Nem, hát ez...
Tehát nem sok.
Senki nem megy érte, valóban. 3-0. És húzott azonban már Zárunál ott az AVP, ami nem szabad lebecsülni. Ugyebár érkezett Kyojin a Vitality 5-ösébe, most ezúttal ugye a francia csapat egy teljesen új, viszonylag ismeretlen játékossal próbálkozik, ami egyébként nem egy elvetendő megoldás, mert egyébként Kenny S is hasonló módon jutott be annól a Source-ban a Very Games-hez. Voltak jó eredményei, tudták, hogy remek játékos, mint egyénileg, és szinten nem Apex-szel lefúrja a bombást, egy frag, két frag és a bombás ott van Confignak, 12 HP-val le kéne valahogy lőni, nem tud elmenekülni Config, lelövi Apex-et, a bomba pedig lekrosszol le kint exitbe, vagy visszamegy.
This round goes the way of Vitality to finally get around on the board. It's config with only 12 HP and BlameF not much healthier. Vulnerable targets that you feel like Vitality should collect.
Yeah, it'll be collected momentarily. Kaijin has the best position here to fend off Config at the very least. Takes him out of the equation. Blame F could be getting the drop onto Kaijin. Indeed, he does. That could heal the bomb plant as well. He's down to 1 HP. The Molotov nearly burns Zaiwu alive. Wow. He has to fall out of heaven with 44 HP. Now, with 1 HP, Blame F is very unlikely to win this, but he's actually put this from almost an impossible situation to just highly improbable. There is a very small slither of an opportunity, and he's going all the way around to heaven. He heard a player get tagged in heaven, which would have been Zaiwu from his Molotov, so he knows at least one of these players is up top. And in a 1v3 with 1 HP, you have to take risks, you have to take gambles. You're not going to win outright, but the fact that Zaiwu has read that is just so mad and puts him down.
Yeah, you can see Zaiwu was trying to play through that to
kirakva neki a bomba egy HP-val, meg tényleg a nagyobbat lép, egyébként eltörik a lába.
Egyébként
és
én várnék ezzel.
Hazudok egy nagyot most egyébként? Nem. Zaiwu azt mondta, hogy én kidemóztam ám a Complexity-t, nekem ilyeneket ne csináljatok. Én tisztán tudom, hogy mi a francia modell. Vagy nem a francia modell, a Dán iskola.
A Vitality-nek. Györgyint, hogy emeljük ebben a körben, itt az előző körben mindenképpen. Mindig van pénz. Kellett, bizonyám, hogy kellett. Ez még mindig van a Complexity-nél. A vásárlás után is. A következő körre is marad. Zaiwu kint. Garázsból nézi AWP-vel. És most egy lassabb Complexity játékot fogunk látni.
Blame F egyébként veszélyes játékot űz, hogy itt az AWP és Zaiwu-ra néz, anélkül, hogy megpróbál majd ki mindjárt kikrosszoltatni, vagy egy kicsit kipíkeltetni. Így most már azért egy nyugodtabb szívvel fog lemenni exitbe, hogyha az a cél, de lehet, hogy be tudnak menni akár nyugatiba is. Mondjuk JKS pozíciójából kiindulva inkább exitbe fognak lemenni, és majd utána jön egy lurk az Ausztráltól.
Hát ez a füstfalas történet, ez egyébként abszolút működik egyenlőre a Complexity-nek. Zaiwu.
Bizony.
Na de most megállt megint a tudomány.
Magukat. És utána letartották, ezzel akár mehet a nyugat is, de itt van majd a fiatal igazolás Kyojin, és Shox is amúgy Heaven alatt szóval nem elég, hogy Heaven be kell valahogy crossolni nyugatba, de utána nyugatból majd meg kell küzdeni még egy játékossal azon a planton, és egyre inkább telik az idő, nagyon-nagyon szépen gyűjti az infót a Vitality, és exitből is folyamatosan Apex píkelges, Shox ez alatt lelövi Poison-t, és még mindig most jön, és még csak most érkezik meg
Diana, your time will come. And everything will be different. One day, when you're ready, you'll become a legend.
No response? Fair enough.
Just admiring.
Yeah.
Kaijin in his first official game as well should be mentioned for Vitality.
Again, and the other thing you have to note is that he only had 5 events, period, under his belt on HLTV before. This event with Vitality. So he is a very inexperienced player when it comes to official match play. So it kind of makes me wonder what Vitality saw in him and what the expectations are for his future. This is our first real look at him.
I feel like that's why there's maybe a bit of pressure for him as well, because he must know there's a lot of naysayers, there's a lot of people that will be very critical and be scrutinizing him, that he's not a known name. You're replacing RPK, like one of the staples of the French scene. There's a lot of other players that could have fit in with Vitality, but they've taken a risk, as it were, on Kaijin.
Well, the big question is, what about Navera? Like, that would look like a potential star player in the making, and they just let him go, basically. So there's a lot of, ruckus about that decision. So, yeah, you're right. There is... a lot out there, a lot of eyes on him. A lot of focus will be on his performance. You see the outer split once again from Cole. Rush with a big entry.
Going straight into the site, he's bagged himself too. Shock's trying to pick up the pieces outside, but instead he'll be picking himself off the floor. Config shuts him down with ease. And Complexity steamrolled the site. You were saying before about how refined and calm Vitality were. Well, Complexity having no chill in that round, showing no respect whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like one of the strengths of Complexity is they have a couple of players in his team who are mega flexible. Rush has played so many roles throughout his career. I feel like he is underrated in his value as a player. Like, he spent the start of his career and how he made a name for himself being like that star entry fragger for Optic back when they were making some noise happen a few years back with E-League and all the different events that they were actually starting to get some big finishes in. That's kind of where he made his name. He goes to Cloud9. He has to take a more supportive role because he's on a roster full of stars, and someone had to, give up some space to make room for those players, and Rush was the one that was willing to do it and, be a little bit more of a role player. He kind of does the same thing on this team, but he still has that entry power, in his roots. He can still dig that up when he needs it. And so when this team is running some type of side split where they need to be able to, poke and prod multiple angles at once, Rush can be that veteran player that, will go get the job done, no questions asked. And that just provides so much for a team to have a guy like that you can just rely on to do his job and to not ask any questions about it. And so, yeah, Blame F also in his own right, super flexible. The man can call. The man's one of the best fragging in-game leaders in the world right now. And he also has the capability to be aggressive when need be, but also be kind of that, assertive lurker and other types of strategies. So, again, that's one of the things playing in Complexity's favor is some of this player versatility that they have.
I'll see how fluid they can be going into round 7. Horse has come and gone, and Vitality now with an AWP, AK, and a bit of a mixed bag of weaponry, having to deal with another outside push. Complexity, as fluid as they've been, they've really liked this area of the map, and so far, other than Apex landing a quick fire double and getting a dink as well, they've had so much success outside Complexity.
Again, it's so important to be able to establish it early because it opens up so many options later on down the road. You can throw so many different feints and fakes and set pieces with this outside control, and it's really hard to contest. You either have to play aggressive or you just have to rotate lower and eat it and just try to make sure that you're really smart. The problem is that guessing rotations on Nuke can be very difficult, and you have to be very quick with it. Otherwise, you can find a site very much overwhelmed. But this is a good crossfire they have right now in these back halls.
Oof, that's a big grenade as well. Touches down multiple players. Masuda cleaning them up alongside Apex. They've made the changes. They've adapted, but Blame F still slaps across 2 players and puts this into a 2-on-2. The bomb is in an awkward spot. They still need to go retrieve that with 35 seconds to play with, but at least they've got themselves back into this round.
Look at JKS. And CT seems to be aware of it, but it doesn't matter. JKS finds it between the eyes there with the AK, leaving ZWoo in a tough 1v2 with an op. Let's have... Oh, the spot! Oh, my goodness!
It's such a good read from ZywOo as well. He was thinking about going down to B, decided to change it up, making some sound cues as if he's rotating out, just playing the time. He knows that some of these seconds are going to be spent going for the plant, now going down to the B site. ZywOo, a masterclass in not just game sense, not just clutching, but composure.
I mean, it just felt like he had the script. He had read ahead quite a while ago and knew exactly where to be. That is impressive. Like you said, the game sits in that situation. It's unreal. Yeah, a bit of a gamble. It's possible that he could have guessed wrong. That would have put him in a tough spot, but he capitalized on the opportunity, and that is what's most important, as they will take a timeout to kind of rejoice in that, maybe make Complexity think about it a bit more. As again, this is a very close beginning to this game. It's still very hard to read who truly has control of this match. It's still very much up for grabs. We've seen positives from both teams. But the one thing I would say is you can't rely on miracles like that too often. It feels like Complexity have often put Vitality in very precarious situations, and it's relied on heroics to battle through from the Vitality side of things. So I feel like Complexity right now are probably feeling pretty confident that their game plan is working. They just need to tidy up some of these, you know, in-round situations.
For all intents and purposes, that's a round that they'll feel like they probably should have won and had a lot of success in it in terms of outside positioning. Some aggression will be forthcoming from not just ZywOo, but he was also backed up by Shox. And with that forward positioning, ZywOo can just hold position, allow Shox to go for that rotation down towards B. Apex playing so slowly and devastating config from behind on Garage. So outside, a slightly different take, but more success from Vitality.
Yeah, they're starting to lay the hammer down in a round like this. Just so clean. They haven't even lost a smidgen of HP in a full gun versus gun round. That is impressive. They've spotted JKS as well here at the vent. Element of surprise has been taken away in that regard as vent being and seen. No HP lost that entire round from anyone.
Statement of a round, a declaration. We were just saying how Complexity probably have their noses in the lead. Well, that round definitely is going to send a shockwave down the collective spine of the five of them. They just got completely obliterated, just outgamed at every single corner.
Yep. A way different vibe of a round, right? A lot of these other rounds have been a little bit labored. You know, a lot of close situations. That time we see Vitality with their first, you know, real clean sweep. Kyogen going for the SMG, knowing that Complexity are saving, trying to farm some extra cash. His money is still a little low. This is the round where Vitality can like really build their bank back up, really start getting control of the half. Just a deagle for Blame F. All that they have to work with here. And shouldn't really have a chance at even a bomb plant situation like this.
Should be Shox getting at least 2 or 3 kills from this position. They jump across, and he decides actually he's just going to fall back. With the AK-47, it is a big boost to a buy of this nature. The bait and switch has been put in place perfectly, and, well, Complexity never really stood a chance.
ZywOo misses the out shot, then just steps out and one-taps him with the USP. Having a smile about that. Easy pickings here for Vitality. Shox making that smart call to back off. All right, I'm going to say this, man. I hope it's not taking us through, but ZywOo's looking good, man. I feel like he's been on the health grind.
Hey, it does look like he's lost some weight. Good for him.
Absolutely, man.
He's looking healthy. Dude.
Absolutely. Gotta congratulate that. Speaking of looking healthy, Frag's not looking too shabby either, Vince. 9-2. Next to Apex is 11-4 right now.
Yeah, that clutch really feels like it built a whole ton of confidence for the ZywOo. Apex just getting them one by one as they peek out. Not even checking the box or the tight angles. Definitely an oversight from Complexity, but Blame F, as ever, just when it looks like things are getting a little bit too dire, he brings them back in and actually takes the lead in terms of manpower. ZywOo posted up with Kyogen, who does pick up a frag, albeit at the cost of 81 HP. But there's still a lot of time. Config decides to just go for the outright plant, assuming that they wouldn't have rotated through on decon. Correct assessment. They had it smoked off anyway. Both players on the double doors. but they're just being ever so careful, having Blame F watching ramp, config on silo. These positions are looking very good for Complexity. They're going to have to make noise whichever way they come. They decide it's going to be through the control room windows, and a weakened Kyojin picked off from the backside. ZywOo gets one, but he's going to get sideswiped by Blame F. They never expected that ramp would have the Danish Mountain, and as it stands, 5-5.
The Danish Mountain. That's actually probably a really good description for Blame F, to be honest. The dude is an absolute unit. Like, he's the one guy that could walk into the Dallas Cowboys weight room and just, like, not look out of place whatsoever. They probably think, oh, is that our new teammate? Did you pick him up in the draft? Probably good lineup on the field, to be honest. I know this reference is lost upon you, Vince, but trust me, this is gold for the people at home.
Sprays through on Squeaky. Now, does he realize that there's been a vent dive already taking place? JKS is already down on the B side. Apex seemingly has a good read of the situation, but maybe I spoke too soon. He looks across to one of his teammates' monitors, looks back, and oh, I'm dead. It's going to be brutal for Team Vitality, just as they were starting to pick up a head of steam. They've been bested in the previous round. They're already a player behind in round 11.
Yeah, I mean, this is really key. Like, these 2 rounds from Complexity, particularly that last round, like you were saying, such smart post-plant positioning behind the silo. Just, again, they really do look like they are working the strategies well here lately, getting everybody back on point. Obviously, a tough period of time when they were without Poison, playing with stand-ins, trying to integrate JKS. They seem like they were starting to weather that storm and starting to get everything back the way it needs to be. And yeah, like you said, Edge on this round, they had so much map control, so much pressure as well. Easy trade there for Blame F, and yeah, that is just surgical attack here from Cole.
What? On the ladder, no scope from ZywOo. Excuse me?
Nah, mate. Nah. Surely not. If that's how they win, imagine.
Well, they're still in this round. ZywOo still has 2 flashes. He's also traded his AWP to the AK, so he's putting himself in position to potentially clutch this. Now, Poison's watching the close angle from Hut, so if he wide swings, he's dead. He knows where one player is. Another flash down, proceeds the flashbang, and takes Rush with him. Poison's missed his shot. Time dwindling away, and this is where he needs Shocks to spring in as well, to help him out. Bombs planted in awkward position as well for the remaining 2 Cs. This is a winnable round right now, but a really important shot from Poison, who's got the wall back position dead to rights, and even though he gets rattled by Shocks, the time has run dry.
You almost feel like the server would have imploded if Vitality wins the round off of that. Complexity, again, their attacks have been so precise, so efficient, good trading, and then ZywOo does something that makes you kind of wonder if the round was actually done with. Luckily for Complexity's sake, hold on in the end. Valiant effort. Again, Blame F to switch on the team. I think those were the 2 key kills that really punched us through for Complexity. They're doing a great job of making it so hard on Vitality to cover everything. You know, when they get that opening pick, when they take that quick map control, they're making it so hard for Vitality to just make sure everything's handled. And so they just keep getting blindsided. Even if they have one spot, maybe they get one, they get instantly traded. And that's one of the dangers of Nuke. When you give up that outside control, when you're allowing your opponent to get control of Heaven, get control of Mini Garage, get into those back halls. It's so tough to figure out where you need to be and what you need to watch out for. So Complexity thriving in those chaotic moments.
JKS looks enthralled.
Like he can't be asked. He also looks like he might be on the cover of like a modeling magazine. Go back to that. Tell me that that's not a magazine cover if you go back to JKS there.
He's got that sultry look down, doesn't he?
Looks like he's part of like a Hollister ad. Look at that. That's a Hollister ad in the making right there, 100%. Or Abercrombie and Fitch, Aeropostale, whichever one you know. You know what I'm talking about. Vince doesn't, of course.
No, I have no idea. I'm just sat here like...
Fancy frat boy clothing lines.
Okay. Yeah, that's obviously what I dress in every
I'm not
day.
calling JKS a fancy frat boy, by the way. I'm just saying the way he was posed was perfect for one of those adverts. Here's where you asked us, how do you know about all those things? Use your imagination.
players looking ready, concentrated, focused.
I don't know why I do this to myself, Vince. I really just open the door for me to get memed on.
Yeah, that's why, like, people probably are wondering, like, why didn't say anything? Because if I don't say anything, Dust just keeps digging himself further.
Signs of a great partnership. Just never helping your boy out. Anyway, I can't be saved, to be fair. Can Vitality's defense be saved is the real question, though.
Oh, Apex, we know he loves a bit of aggression. He's heard 3 players pushed down. Calls that to the rest of his team. Now he runs in as the chaos ensues, but
Lord.
Rush is just careful. He may have heard him actually run a bit prematurely at Apex. May have overstepped the mark. Shox now has a chance to wind back the years to take some heads with him, but Rush will deny him that chance. 7-5 lead.
And maybe we were wondering earlier who would have control of this half after the early skirmishes. It seems like our questions have been answered. Complexity look like a well-oiled machine on this T side. They're getting good production out pretty much the entire lineup. All their map control is working. And they never let something slip between the cracks. I think it's the other big thing. Like, they have made such good decisions in these mid to late round small number scenarios where they're making sure that they're not getting flanked. They have all their bases covered. And they're just working things out according to plan. Really good bait and switches when they need to. Just, yeah, they look really well drilled. I'm sure somewhere Jason Lake has a smile on his face. Probably somewhere in the Complexity compound in Texas, I would imagine. You know that he's wearing his white button-up shirt, his blue tie.
He'd be excited about this roster, and why not?
I know that hasn't gone according to plan as far as the world situation, not being able to have them in the facility. Rush has been they've been all having to live in Europe, and it's been tough on some of them, I'm sure, but they're grinding through.
Okay, Jin takes off. They had a poison. Well, actually, I think he dinked his first bullet and then finished him off. Sent him a shot. Rush gets a 1-for-1 trade. Again, being very valuable outside. He has 6 kills, but it feels like each and every one of those frags has been very important and impactful. Maybe less so in this round because the rest of his teammates have fallen around him, and now he's down to 15 HP. There is time still to play with, and a slight saving grace is they still have control over the bomb. And with outside control, they maybe can go up into heaven. But I feel like Vitality will have a good read of the situation and be watching out for this play.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. They have the numbers to cover this time around rather than being behind, as has often been the case in some of these mid-round situations. So yeah, it shouldn't be a problem at this point.
Smoke affords them a wider angle of aggression, plus some flashbangs. Rush goes in first, but he needed Blame F to land shots. Didn't happen. Kajin actually got both frags there. From his perspective, that must have been pretty snappy. Instead, Vitality will be trailing by 1 round.
Yeah, he's starting to get his feet wet at this level of play, right? Starting to get tested a bit more and more, starting to maybe find a little bit of a rhythm. A couple of kills. The final dotting of the I's and crossing of the T's of a very important round for Vitality to keep this score close. In the middle of this half. But now they get rewarded this round. 2 rounds left to go in the half. They should be getting a freebie here. Should be in the keyword. Those Deagles can sometimes be pesky. But this is the easiest round Vitality has faced in quite some time, and they need to capitalize.
Nade lands by Config's feet, picking shrapnel out of his shins as he looks to try and push back towards lobby with the rest of his teammates. They do need some pretty brisk 1Ds. They have no flashes or smokes to precede the push. And Apex, who's been outside multiple times getting aggressive, is relaying that information for his teammates. They now know in a situation like this, likely will be either ramp hit or trying to just brute force their way onto A side. ZywOo holds his position. They're going to be coming out slowly but surely. Going in for the first peek. ZywOo shuts down Rush, but JKS gets 2 Deagle headshots. He's been suppressed by ZywOo, who's still alive and can act as a foundation for the rest of his teammates to come in. And the fact that Apex is already rotating around lobby is going to be a huge passage of play that Vitality should be able to hold on to for the clutch. Poison down to 10 and Config down to 61. My God, do they need a magical moment from Config's Deagle right now. Apex is low. 1 bullet anywhere on him from the Deagle and he's a goner. He's slowly edging his way round towards main. But this is going to be more of a crossfire scenario. He needs the two players in heaven to do the bulk of the work, to do most of the lifting. Config connects the shot, but not enough for the frag, and they just have enough time for the defuse.
Yeah, they're going to be breathing a heavy sigh of relief at this point, as that round got way closer than it ever should have been. You have to say that Complexity at least maximized their opportunity here, like knowing that their best bet was to kind of like spread out together, making it very hard for Zebu to find multiple targets. And then just hope that the Deagles can land, and JKS certainly did. So getting a bomb plant out of that situation was actually kind of impressive. But Vitality taking care of business whenever they were required to, and so they do tie this thing right back up at 7 apiece. So this could be a big statement round for Cole if they can collect it, get that lead on the T side of Nuke. That'd be huge.
The score. Apex gives Vitality the slight edge, the slight lead. Poison gets dunked on by the grenade. That box probably saves him the bulk of the damage, though. That looked like it could have been a horrific injury. They still continue to push forward. Bulgarian is hungry. Try and pick up the slack. Try and get Complexity into the lead. Masuda may have a few things to say about it, but his speech is cut short abruptly by Rush's AK. As Complexity continue to spill downstairs, and they're going to have a B post-plant.
It's just Apex, though, man. He started off the round with the huge pick outside early, and now he's coming back around to see if he can finish the job, as they do have this 3-on-2 retake ahead of them. They do have kits on all of their players. That won't be a problem. They have some utility as well to work with.
Rush have to play in tandem, tag team each other in. Rush gets aggressive, but a 1-for-1 trade may not be good enough for Poison. The bomb is planted for his side of the site. Smoke out on their kitchen, around the corner, takes off the head of Poison, has a huge amount of impact, and Vitality will lead going into the break 8-7.
Feels like I've been living somebody else. In the corner of my mind, I feel something getting stranger. Everything's arranging. In the corner of my
We return into the fray on Nuke with Vitality on a slight lead. 8-7. Kyojin has had some pretty important moments in a game that's going to be hotly contested, and certainly an intriguing one for the French scene to see what this guy can bring to the table. So far, I wouldn't say that he's necessarily blown us away, but he's been doing a pretty decent work job and having a good go of it so far.
Pretty neutral, you know, which I think is like a good place to be in this particular moment. See Vitality wasting no time steamrolling the back halls. Unfortunately, they got caught up a little bit there. Masuda taking a huge amount of damage, and Config is looking to burst some grapes in this control room side, and he is, well, he's eating them all.
He's just stomping on Vitality with that USP. Could be going in for a 4K. Finally succumbs to his wounds, but the damage has been inflicted. He's done his work. Kyojin, try as he may, out as Squeaky, has been found, fragged, and laid to rest. And it's seemingly like Vitality, unless Shox can pull off quite a masterful clutch, will be going the same way. It's also quite indicative and maybe a bit scary that Config had a really quiet first half, and he's one of those players you expect to be near the top of the board.
Yeah, he's turned the USP into the Universal Skull Piercer. That right?
Nice.
I tried. I do wonder what it stands for, so I just made up my own thing. Did play that role in the round, to be fair. Had a couple of extra shots on this third one, but I mean, whatever. He still got the hat trick at the end of the day. And so we will see Complexity buy up off the back of it. Rifles aplenty, scout for poison. And Vitality rocking out the Glocks out, Vince. Never the position you want to be in, but sometimes you have to do it. As we are looking to see what Vitality... We are waiting to see what Vitality is going to do here. Is again just going to be on the Glocks. No utility, of course. No real ability to do much, as we are going to see JKS lay the smoke down on Squeaky Door. And this round is really just a formality, but we have to play it out nonetheless. As BlameF looking to get a little bit aggressive with the AUG in the outer side. JKS and Rush have that upper site covered just fine, and you have to wonder if maybe Vitality are trying to have a bit of a timeout. As Vince has now rejoined us. How's it going, buddy?
Hello.
Welcome back.
Hopefully the mic issues are all good. BlameF. Big shot onto Apex outside. Hold on with the M4. Double spray is good. Bomb drop down. Again, it is Glocks though, so not really expecting too much. Poison making sure that he doesn't labor the spray with the USP. 9-8 for Complexity, but Vitality will be coming back in with a buy.
Yeah, here we go. Now we get to the entree, Vince. We got past that starter. That wasn't what we wanted. Unfortunate, really. Does happen when you try to something new. But now we get what we want. And Vitality, I feel like, need to make a statement, you know, early. They want to, you know, keep this a close contest. Don't let Complexity start spiraling, as they had a huge T-side. And they're feeling pretty good about things, you'd have to imagine, considering how well their attack went. Did everything pretty much to perfection. It really took like crazy efforts of Vitality to stop Complexity. I mean, I feel like they could have gotten even a couple of more rounds that half if it wasn't for like some crazy clutch plays from Vitality.
Oh, no doubt. I think Complexity would have been well within their rights to get at least 10 rounds in that first half.
Looked like they were on pace to do so for sure for a moment there. Let's see if Vitality are setting up some utility for what looks like an upper execute from what I can see. Alright, fainting that as they put that outside smoke ball into play.
Only behind the smoke will give away any sound cues should Vitality try and push. And through the smoke, BlameF crunches into the head of Apex with the AUG. JKS now will be turning back around his attentions on Squeaky. Gets punctured in by Kyojin, but does repel that push. Great flashbang tossed in from Poison. Fully blinds Iwu, who's still got a kill, albeit one and done. Shox, big entry onto BlameF, but Config lays down Masuda. One-on-one, 30 seconds. Bomb is dropped the wrong side of the site for Shox, but Config comes out and he pulls off the clutch. Complexity continue their CT winning ways.
And the fact that Config is heating up is huge, man, because he has been the other guy next to Flame the last 6 months that's really been doing the heavy lifting for Complexity. JKS, though, is having a screamer of a game, Vince. I feel like he's had a lot of impactful moments in the first half and had a big double kill there with the FAMAS at Vent to give his team a chance in what was a very grim situation. I feel like JKS has not hit the floor running on this team the way people were kind of hoping for, as he was like very much a star player of Renegades for such a long time, but definitely has still found ways to have impact when needed, and he's having a hell of a game here. Flame F, you hate to see that.
Yep. Just the sound of a distinguished Molotov in the distance. Apex 1 does get bested now by Blame F. Config double spray, but 3 players to contend with. So Masuda will sneak through. I say sneak through, but Poison has just blasted him out of his boots mid-air with the AWP. Shox, who was making moves downstairs, has the sour news that he is now the only man standing, and there is a player just behind him who'll be making moves down in the form of Blame F. Now, time is on Shox's side, but everything else is against him. Rush puts down the M4 spray. Complexity put down an 11-8 lead.
Yeah, starting to build up the momentum. JKS, you can tell how excited he is about that based on his facial expressions. There's old Config himself. Again, big story for him on this Complexity team. Kind of like a second chance at a career, right? Unceremonious exit from North, struggles on Optic, brought onto Complexity, and has turned out to be the guy that they needed. Getting back to old form. Being that aggressor that can have so many positive values for a team. As he takes an aggressive angle this round as well here towards Radio. Another big buy round opportunity for Vitality. I feel like they have to get something going fast, Vince. Otherwise this could, again, really start to swirl down the drain for them.
Yeah, we're getting into that territory where Vitality may just let this one slip through their fingers. After a solid first half performance with some pretty impressive moments, the consistency has been lacking. It's been few and far between. They have a chance now, though, to control their own fate in DreamHack Masters Spring by taking a stranglehold over the map. Shox kicks things off with authority, and Config, who gets wide swung by multiple Ts, can't actually thread any frags. This is more like it from Vitality. They're giving themselves a really good chance to second round.
Yeah, they kind of got gifted some opportunities, but it's up to them to take advantage of them. They've done just that, and now you're seeing everyone from Cole have to start taking more gambles because the initial holds didn't work out, and that's really their only way back into the round is someone taking a dice roll and hitting some 7s. I think that's the number you want in I don't know. Not a dice roller. I'm a disc roller instead, Vince.
No Complexity will be rolling out of this round. However, looks like they'll be rolling in a little bit of money with an AWP and an AUG by their side.
Yes. So I'm not really a disc roller, I'm more of a thrower. Can't have those dirty rollers, Vince.
I was going to say, there is a... I'm limited
Stigma
knowledge, but
rollers.
you actually can do the roll thing. Like,
yes. It's frowned upon by some of our community. I've lost like so much of our audience with that. But that was a nugget for some of our supporters out there. That's for you. We'll get back to Counter-Strike now. Don't you worry.
This game is getting tense, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great round to keep it close, especially with the Complexity economy being in this fragile state now. This is actually the chance for Vitality could really close this gap, which is already considerably small, and really make this a tight contest.
The opening pick went the way of Vitality. In fact, opening 2 picks went the way of Vitality in the first 15-20 seconds. That was over on ramp, and that was outside. Now this time, Complexity have far less at their disposal, so they're going for a gamble outside, pushing with JKS. He's alone for the time being, but no one's playing inside ramp. They have Blame F watching it from the Sanctuary, or at least he was from Lockers. Now he's gone up into Heaven. So they've given that part of the map up, and wouldn't you know it, Vitality have pushed in. 3 players already scurrying their way down ramp. Having lost Apex already, it's going to be an issue, but surely Complexity can't clutch this one out.
Oh, AK collected though by Rush, but quickly stamped out by Shocks. That made you all of a sudden get concerned that maybe Cole could reel it back in if they could have gotten Rush out of there with that AK-47. That's a huge kill to stop that weapon from being in play later. But there is a possibility for someone else to come and collect it when they go for the retake. Config is still keeping eyes on lower. They had that AUG in control room. So there is ways in this round for Complexity. I think it really comes down to Shocks' lurking play outside and what he's able to accomplish with that.
Oh, JKS had a gap in the smoke. The flashbang forced him away at first, but now he gets seconds. Config, P250 needed the headshot outright, doesn't land it. JKS labored spray, may get punished. 20 seconds as the bomb starts to get planted. The last two fights could have completely changed the direction of this round, and indeed this map had they have slightly gone more in Complexity's favor. As it stands, the Australian and the Dane I've got to somehow try and chime together and clutch this. They have a kit between the two of them, and they have a HE, but the fact that Blame F is up on the top side of the site, I mean, looks like he's saving, and this round is actually done.
Not a bad call either. I mean, with their money being this low, being able to carry over an AK and an AUG is definitely a positive result. JKS, though, may not get the chance as he's being pressured here in this control room area. They're falling back now, and he has enough help to survive the explosion. So maybe he'll be able to carry over both these weapons. So some small battles won there by Complexity, but Vitality getting the ultimate prize, which was the round, and now it's within one. It did come down to Shocks in the end, as we were kind of alluding to that we were able to get in behind the back calls and kind of put a stop to this retake effort from Complexity. We're certainly threatening a positive result. Money's still not really there to buy around these two rifles. It'll be Eagles instead, but honestly, I feel like Vitality have yet to have like a truly stress-free round.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. There's constantly been threats, and now Config with the Deagle takes off the head of the Suitor. There is actually some team damage there. ZywOo takes a bullet in the back of the head from his teammate behind him. Now Config forcing that respect to be shown, to try and pre-fire him down. A Molotov tossed onto L allows him to filter their way downstairs, but JKS is waiting with the AUG. He's picked up two already. ZywOo puts an end to the kill streak. But Complexity take the lead again. We're almost in identical position to the last round.
Again, heroics will be required from Vitality side to get things going. Shocks, sniffs out Rush's position, but does not connect the bullets. Instead, it's Rush and Poison coming in. They'll also carry over 3 free AK-47s, and their money is building. And yeah, Shocks, that's probably exactly the reaction that everyone was expecting you'd have. Those are rounds you cannot lose when you're trying to come back. I mean, it just looked a little bit sloppy, not having the utility on the window, on the silo to flush those players out of position. You have to take care to make things easier on yourself with good utility usage and spacing, and they just did not have that. They just kept giving 1v1s JKS in the back. Let's start with an AUG, and he's laughing. Probably not. He's probably stone-faced as ever, but, you know.
It's just a massive boost to the economy from Complexity as well. They were looking to put all of their eggs in this basket, and instead they got 3 players that can buy again whatever happens. Vitality still have tons of cash on 4 of the players.
Double up. Interesting. I mean, Config has been playing that ramp room, so certainly this is one of those maps where double op on CT side can be viable. No ops in play for Vitality. Obviously, ZywOo a very capable rifle, however, so they won't be hamstrung too much by that situation. See Blame F trying to be a bit more assertive in these back halls this time, push all the way up to secret side. As Poison rattles off close to the smoke with JKS. One lands.
F waiting and anticipating the push is going to be forthcoming. Takes the first Molotovs in. Love that he didn't re-peek. In a 5v3, why bother? And he knows there's crossfires being established elsewhere. JKS makes short work of the oncoming Vitality, who are now looking a little bit wobbly, a little bit shaky on this T side again. They had their second wind, but now the blockades have been put up from Complexity.
Yeah. It feels like the wind are well and truly out of Vitality sails at this point. I mean, you have to feel for them in that round. They had 2 players die through smoke spam, essentially. One by an op, one by JKS's AK. Then BlameF uses that disruption to kind of sneak in from secret, grab his own frag. Now Masuda and Kaojin having to try to clutch a 2 versus 4 with little time left.
18 seconds to be precise. And peek from heaven. You don't expect another one to be on the vents. And JKS comes in for a 3K. You said he's not necessarily had the greatest of starts with Complexity, but this has been a great performance from him.
Yeah, it's not been terrible. I just think people anticipated he could be like a star player on this team, as he was on Renegades. Like, you had the star aggressors in BlameF and Config. JKS would be the guy on the other end of the spectrum, kind of fulfilling, you know, a similar star role, but just in a different capacity. And that hasn't really happened yet, but he's still been solid when he's needed to be, and he's having, again, a hell of a game here. There's still room to grow, right? I think the team was very shaky with the whole Poison situation. Now they have the roster back stable again, and now they can just kind of focus forward. And again, a bold statement being made by Complexity in this opening map. Their T side on Nuke looked so calculated, so well drilled, so efficient. And now they've come on the defense, and they've done what they needed to do. Meanwhile, Vitality, with their new lineup, with their new fifth, continue to look shaky. They need this full buy to work, as money is running low. If they have any hopes that coming back in this game, you have to feel. Big entry from Ziwu with a Galil at that against an op.
Straight outside, spots a second play on Credit Card. Will be calling that to his teammates as he drops down into Secret. A stampede of T's does get momentarily stalled by a Molotov. With so much time left, that's only going to be a brief reprieve for Complexity, but Rush takes off the head of Shox. And Vitality instantly dip back into outside control. They're rushing up into heaven. They are so quick in here. They've thrown caution to the wind. There will be no stealth in this round from Vitality, but Rush has their number, and he has bullets to faces. He takes the D, using it against Apex. Outrageous from Rush. He picks up the ace.
Rush better be cheesing. He better be smiling. I think he was smiling there for a minute, and deservedly so. So on the one hand, you're so impressed by Rush. His aim, his ability to pivot, his ability to, you know, switch up when he needs to. But when you're looking at the Vitality side of this, you're like, how do you just keep giving Rush this many 1v1s? You know, again, they just look so disjointed, Vince.
Oh my god, the grenade. Oh my. Outside gets carpet bombed. Kyojin still gets the first kill, but look at all the low plays. Iwu, Misuta, Kyojin all below 30 HP. Rush should be finishing that off from an ace. You expect him to be landing these shots. That's a weakened player that pushed in first. Misuta using one of his 9 lives, a Guardian Angel watching over him. Shox perforates JKS, puts it into a 3-on-3 inside. Iwu takes the quality off the table, but not for long. 2-on-2, but look at the HP difference. It is vastly in favor of Complexity.
Yeah, 18 health combined between two players here. They're trying to see if they can't find a way to sneak this round across the finish line. They have a lot of time. They still have bomb possession. They have a couple of flashes and 1 Molotov. And they're up against 2 ops. So, I mean, it's just still so hard to see them really back in. They have to make some military control. Easy outshot for Config. Quickly traded by Masuda, though. Good spacing. We'll get the bomb planted. Poison will swap over to the AK, and again, he has such a health advantage.
Yeah, and the utility as well to shine, and although Masuda got off the first bullet, 27 HP taken from Poison, the life taken on Vitality, and that will be 5 match points to Complexity.
Again, they have just looked the superior team almost every step of the way. And now at the most important moment, they've continued that pace. Look at Vitality here. They will be able to get the full AK buy and utility all across the board. So at least they're able to somewhat put their best foot forward, lacking the op for Zywoo. But again, Nuke T side and just knowing Zywoo's diversity, they still should feel pretty good about things as far as their buying situation. But again, they need to win 5 in a row to force overtime. They can afford no more slip-ups. They've yet to prove that they could really dominate around.
Yeah, even the rounds they've won have just been either individual performance really teeing off, or maybe a couple of lapses in communication from Complexity.
Yep.
Doesn't feel like Vitality have ever really taken control of this game.
No, definitely not. A lot of heroics required to get a lot of the rounds that they've been able to scrape together. That has to change here, and now they have the opening pick this round. They had it last round as well, and still folded. So, I mean, this is not some foregone conclusion that they're going to convert. As BlameF already catches Apex to equal the numbers as he's trying to sneak into the back halls. And now JKS looking to get aggressive inside Hut. Rush pushing through speed. Bomb behind.
Dink finished off from JKS. From below, he strikes. He may be putting Vitality into the depths come the end of this round. Only 2 players stand. Kyojin alongside Shox, and what a moment it could be for the new recruit to have a magical moment here at the Masters. Kyojin, though, 35 seconds alongside Shox to make that miracle come to fruition. And now it comes down to Kyojin. 1-on-3. Bomb not under his control. Will have to make some sound. Shoots to try and mask the sound. Won't really be helping him because he has to get a move onto the side. Smoke out. Affords him the luxury of having to contend with one less angle, but Complexity completely and utterly collapse and control this CT side and take it 16-10. We're heading to a break. When we come back, we'll break down what we just saw.